Hey guys, Mr. EMP for I Make Plays TV, and today we're trying something new. Instead of trying to help you vow breakers out there make plays, we're going to look to the future and talk about the SpellBreak roadmap that was released last week. Now, I don't normally do game update videos like this, but if you want more, like, comment, and subscribe. Those are the best ways to let me know you want to see more. Now, Proletariat apparently has some big plans for the coming weeks and months, and they've been more transparent about them than any dev that I've seen in some time. Speaking of transparency, one thing that they talked about on the roadmap has already hit the live servers, so I want to talk about that for a moment before I dive too deep into things. Shadow Step. Now, it's kind of funny that the teleport rune takes the function of Reaper's ability from Overwatch, but the Shadow Step rune takes the name. Now that I think about it though, Shadow Step itself functions similarly to Reaper's other ability, Wraith Form. Both abilities are used to avoid damage on the fly, both abilities can allow you to reposition at the same time, and if the user gets close enough to you with it, both abilities allow the user to use shotguns or the SpellBreak equivalent to clap you harder than a Skyrim guard's cheeks. The rune allows you to perform a dash and become invisible for a short time. It's a jack of two trades but doesn't master either one of them, being that the dash rune provides a better dash and the invis rune provides longer invisibility. In addition, you can't use the momentum the dash provides you, and there's a giant black cloud that gives away your location when you reveal yourself. In my mind, the rune is more useful mid-combat to give you the advantage rather than one that allows you to disengage. You can of course use it to escape by breaking line of sight before you use it, but the main use is to create or cut distance depending on what gauntlets you're using in your playstyle. I think that for a veteran player, this rune is going to be very strong, especially ones that like to fight in closer ranges. I mentioned that the rune is pretty much made for close range, things like Toxicologists, but a Tempest, Pyromancer, and Stone Shaper can use it just as well a lot of the times. Classes that depend on more distance like Frostborn or Conduit should probably stay away from this one in my opinion. That's about the long and short when it comes to Shadow Step. I'm sure when Chronomaster releases there will be a lot more to take in though. That seems like an ability made to break the game entirely. So now we're going to move on to the roadmap itself, and like Proletariat did, I'm going to break this down by short term, mid term, and long term. By the way, none of these things are guaranteed. Roadmaps change, and sometimes, in Anthem's case, never even are honored. I've got faith in Proletariat that they won't do us like that, but if they do, don't come to me and tell me that I was wrong. Okay, let's start with the short term stuff because that's what we're going to see right away-ish. There's not much here besides the Shadow Step rune that I spoke about earlier, the Chronomaster rune, and the 1.1 update. They say we should see everything in this section within a month, but that depends on clearances and other things. In the post, which I'll link in the description, Proletariat says that they want to create a game with a shifting meta. That makes sense in a game so heavily steeped in magic, as any fantasy nerd knows how volatile magic can be in just about any universe. Things are always changing in fantasy, and the boundaries of what's possible constantly stretch. That being said, it's fitting they introduced the concept of new game-changing runes to the HoloLands. They spoke about two of them in specific, being the Chronomaster and the Shadow Step. We've already talked about the Shadow Step, so let's focus on the Chronomaster, which can rewind you to a previous position, giving you back health and armor in the process. In Overwatch, I was a Tracer main, so the idea of this is more than familiar to me. I just worry about how it may affect game balance upon its release. It sounds like an amazing skill when used with high mobility. A Tempest main like myself is going to have a lot of fun playing with the opposition while using it. This rune is still listed as coming in the short term, so I have faith that it's been properly tested before release. The Shadow Step though, that went live already. You can find that on the ground right now. The 1.1 update includes some bug fixes, quality of life updates, changes to aim assist, and some sound changes. The big focus here is on the bugs, however, as it should be. The game dropped with some harmless bugs like the skybox tweaking out, but also has some game-breaking ones such as the Switch's black screen of death or the inability to pick up items. I cannot stress enough how bad it is to not be able to pick up items in a battle royale. You're dead if this happens. If it happens to you earlier mid-game, that's just it, plain and simple. You're dead. The only solution that I know of is to find the nearest fracture and banish yourself back to the lobby realm. I'm hoping they take care of these glitches ASAP so I can play with my friends on Nintendo Switch more often. As far as quality of life goes, I don't have any concrete information, but I can speak to what I would like to see. Now right now, it takes so long to navigate your death screens to either end up back in the lobby or spectating. I'd like to see them implement a single screen system with perhaps slides to give you your damage, who killed you, and how they did it. While this isn't a huge deal, Apex Legends implemented a screen such as this post-launch, and it helped to mitigate a lot of the salt from getting third-partied for the 30th time. Another change I'd like to see is the enemy representation on the minimap, because right now there is none. If an enemy is within range on your screen's minimap and they fire their weapons, I think there should be an indicator of this. Maybe a red dot or a triangle, just so that you can see where exactly they're shooting from. If you have any quality of life changes you'd like to see in the next patch or even patches after that, feel free to drop your ideas in the comments. Now in the midterm, SpellBreak is going to focus on widening their scope. They're giving a time frame between 1 to 3 months from now for all of this, but it could change at a moment's notice. Right now, SpellBreak is just a BR, though the devs insist that it's going to be so much more. Like most BRs, there's little to no story elements involved, with the main goal being getting good and being the last one standing. Both of those things are going to change with Prologue and Chapter 1. Prologue is going to introduce some of the things in the roadmap. There are plans for a seasonal event, story-based content, new talents, new consumables, and even a new game mode. It's spoopy season right now, even though this whole year has been kind of scary when you think about it. That means any multiplayer title worth its salt is going to roll out a bunch of cosmetics for All Hallows Eve. SpellBreak is no different, and if these skins are going to be anything like the heat that they've been releasing in the store since launch, we're in good hands. It would be cool to be a zombie toxicologist spewing gunk at your opponents. Think about launching yourself into the sky on a tornado as a pointy-hatted witch. Ooh, how about howling into the sky as a wolf man? There's a lot Proletariat can do here, and I'm hyped to see what they come up with. Prologue will also introduce Avira Emberdane, whoever that is. I'm not exactly sure what role she's going to play, but her name sounds important. She'll likely be the one to introduce the first bits of lore and some PvE content, as it says you can hone your skills and earn in-game rewards. Along with that stuff, they're also providing some in-game changes with Prologue, as they've hinted at both new talents and consumables. Any ideas what these might do? Feel free to put them in the comments, because I'm at a loss. I'm just going to wait to see. The main thing I'm waiting here is the Clash mode, 9v9 team deathmatch. BRs aren't for everybody, like I mentioned in the last video. I enjoy them, but I'll admit that I'm a different kind of player. Growing up in the fighting game community, getting your ass kicked is a learning experience, and I realized pretty quickly with SpellBreak that I had a lot to learn. I was, and am, willing to grind for as long as I need to in order to get good. That's not everyone's cup of tea. A beating can discourage people from playing, especially when it's going to take a little bit to load up into the next game. Clash is for people who want to play but don't like the punishing nature of BRs. You could just jump in and just frag out for as long as you want. I think this will help build the player base, because I still see posts on Reddit complaining about the BR thing, but loving every other aspect of the game. At the end of the day, I want to see this game grow, and I think Clash should help, though I'm not sure about that 9v9 player count. After Prologue, we have Chapter 1, which is still a midterm thing on the roadmap. It sounds like a PvE content event from what I hear. It says you'll be introduced to the Order of the Vow Breakers and given your first assignment. I don't know what it means, but it sounds PvE-ish. Likely a continuation of whatever shenanigans we're going to get up to with Avira Emberdane. I myself am an avid reader and writer. Fantasy is one of, if not my favorite genre, so whatever story they want to give me here, I'm more than cool with. Do they need a story in their BR game? Probably not, but it's not called the Bill of Needs. Proletariat has a right to their story, and I'm glad they're going to share it. Lastly, we're going to jump into the long-term section of the roadmap. These are things that are being discussed but are months out at the very least. There's not a lot of information here, but what they do give us is a lot of hope. People are constantly asking if they're on to add things, and they hear you over at Proletariat. In addition to the runes that they've detailed coming to the game, they're working on even more. And it's not only runes. People have asked for different gauntlet classes, modes, and guilds, and Proletariat has said that all of these things are coming in the future. The modes are the most interesting thing here. They've teased limited time modes like races and frost only rounds, but the part that got my attention is talk of a ranked mode for filthy tryhards like myself. This game has a very high skill ceiling and rewards coordination and team play. There are players that have perfected the art of pub stomping that I'm sure would love to have a leaderboard to top. So that's the entirety of the roadmap, and it's up to Proletariat to decide where they want to take this. The hype is real right now, guys. I've been loving SpellBreak. This roadmap gives us a taste, but there's nothing like getting to experience the full course meal. I'm normally not a patient man, but I can wait as long as what they've given us here continues to be fun and rewarding, and I'm seeing no stop to it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more content like this. Subscribe to I Make Plays TV. Maybe even give me a check on Twitch, where I've recently hit affiliate. The links to all my social media will be in the descriptions. Guys, I appreciate you coming here. Tune in next time for more SpellBreak content.